If I were to tell you that Bitcoin would go to $100,000 by the end of next year, I don't think anybody would be really surprised by that. But I think a lot of people would be pretty surprised to hear that even massive banks like Standard Chartered, $820 billion in there, is also predicting that Bitcoin will reach $100,000 by the end of next year. And now, kind of sounds like they got themselves a good chunk of Bitcoin to be saying that. But I'll tell you again, I personally see the reality as such. Right now, we are preparing for the halving. We're preparing for the Bitcoin spot ETFs and are slowly trickling up. There's a good potential for one more correction until the halving comes, and potentially afterwards some slight corrections, but the general trajectory is up. In the comments, I often see people say the bull market will only start in 2024, or it'll end in 2025 or 2026. My thoughts is the bull market started a year ago, and we've got about a year and a half left until the middle of 2025. I think there it's going to come crumbling back down, and right now we're not in that FOMO phase of the bull market quite yet, but the bull market nonetheless, just some of the earlier phases. And trust me when I say that most people will not realize we're in the bull market until we're back at an all-time high. I mean, for me, it feels like Bitcoin was at 17,000 just not too long ago. So for me, this feels like crazy much of a bull market. But some think of a bull market as crazy gains every single day, it raining money. The thing is, that's just a specific part of the bull market, you know, the amazing parts, but not the start of it. What we're witnessing right now is the start of it. Or matter of fact, we're right in the bull market. But I want you guys to realize something regardless of what phase of the market that we're in. First of all, if you've not pressed that like button yet, right now is your best time. And second of all, they're lying to you. Who is lying to you? Well, take a look at this. Anthony Pompliano shared a record $940 million worth of purchases were made through BNPL on Cyber Monday, surging 43% from last year. The American consumer is broke, but still spending. Look at the numbers. Cyber Monday online sales hit new all-time high records too. Well, and take a look at this. Mark Cuban selling his stake in the Mavericks and also leaving Shark Tank. When that guy cashes out, you know shit's about to get bad. If anyone doesn't know, he sold all of his tech stocks right at the top in the 2000s. And since we're referring to sports here, might as well take the time to mention, shouldn't have read that far in. He goes on to talk about his sports betting. All I've got to tell you is, if you've been in the investing landscape for a while, you probably feel some deja vu from two sides. On the one end, right now it kind of feels like early 2017. It kind of feels like early 2021, where crypto-wise, we're just in a really good period, but as I said earlier, not in those peak points just quite yet. But we're preparing up for it. We're seeing it in all these crazy, exciting type of statements. But from another side, I kind of feel as what we were witnessing in 2020. And I guess if you were around back in 2007, or I should say 2007, where people don't really believe that things are in a bad spot because a lot of the numbers, they show positivity. And it's kind of funny how different this is with crypto, where with crypto right now, many people are not believing that it's in a good spot. And then with the TradFi, I'm gonna call it, people don't believe we're in a really bad spot. It's kind of funny how that hangs around. And exactly why, we'll talk about in just a sec. But first, take a look at this. And now before we move on, we've got a sponsor for this video that I definitely think you guys should check out, especially if you're into Bitcoin and more specifically into Bitcoin mining, and they're called Summit. I'll probably refer to them as Summit Mining because obviously that's their main focus. And obviously with the Bitcoin halving coming up, Bitcoin mining is a pretty hot topic right now. Now, over the past couple of years, these guys have been taking in thousands of clients with pretty good investments and now running a pretty big team with, again, the main objective being running mining machines. And obviously the reason that this is always interesting is because if you mine alone and you're not mutualizing, you're not pooling, you're almost never going to mine a block, right? So they've also got a strategy for that where they basically pool everybody's machines together and split the profits. Now, what I just showed you was the main Summit website, but they've got a specific section for only mining where you can see a little bit more of the numbers. And basically, by investing with them, you receive SMKs, and what those are Summit Mining Distribution Keys. And it all basically represents a fraction of the mining pool. And as they make profit at the end of the month, I believe they use those funds again to buy the newest, latest, coolest machines. And And the specific part that I like about it is they themselves as the company don't take like an annoying management fee or anything like that. They basically take performance fees, meaning if things do really well and you're making profit, they take a part of the profit. And for managing everything, pooling everything, etc., and most people just don't know how to operate a miner, I always think that's a pretty fair deal. Because once more, if you want to buy machines on your own, they're going to be way more expensive than buying it like in a massive bulk for millions of dollars. And so obviously the most annoying parts in mining are your average price of electricity and the cost of your equipment. Luckily, their equipment is significantly cheaper, and the electricity, I guess it kind of depends. And if you want to take a look at how the profitability looks, again, it's crypto. These numbers change by a lot over time. And now for this part, I'll tell you, always do your own due diligence. But they've basically got a sale for the token, which once more is basically like a reinvestment machine. And they've already raised about $7 million from their community right now, going for their first public sale. And I believe they're trying to become like a behemoth and obviously get their prices lower than the rest by raising a whopping 40 million euros. But as you can see right here, this price is significantly better than some of those later big raises. And even though they're mostly active in France, it seems, they've been around for a while. Team is public. You can just contact one of the people there to make an appointment about how things work if you're interested in mining. With the link down below, you actually get a 30% reduction in their fees for the first 3 months. And if you're not necessarily the investment type normally, or you'd like to be involved with their community, or just ask them questions, they do an AMA every week in their Discord. So yeah, you could definitely take a look at that too. Or if you'd like to read more about it, I'll leave a light paper perhaps in the description below, so you could also check that out. And yeah, here's different parts of Summit. Summit is like the overarching company, and then you've got some subsidiaries like the mining part, the hosting part, and so forth and so on. And part of the token will also be going towards Summit nodes. You can take a look at that if you'd like. Oh yeah, and here's a little picture of the team. Interesting stuff, but definitely thank you for sponsoring this video. And now let's move on. And like I was saying, Bitcoin turns bullish again amid dovish Fed forecast. The biggest digital asset by market cap is up by more than 134% this year. Continuing on, now a combination of optimism surrounding the approval of a Bitcoin ETF and comments today from the Federal Reserve Governor Christopher J. Waller are leading to bullish price action. No. It's, I'd say, the grand scheme of things that's leading Bitcoin into such a bullish endeavor. And you guys have got to understand, when I talk about Bitcoin being bullish, we're talking about cryptocurrencies being bullish. And as of this point, major indices being in a really bad spot, talking about stocks, talking about your TradFi, and well, a big part of it is that inflation is still too high. Or I'd say, matter of fact, inflation is not correct. At least the numbers that are showing are just so stupid. He was increasingly confident that policy is currently well positioned to slow the economy and get inflation back to 2%. And even James Butterfield, head of research at CoinShares, says it appears that Waller's remarks have favorably influenced Bitcoin's price, adding that it indicates a shift from the possibility of rate hikes, which were under consideration just 2 months ago. And I'd like to add to it that in a really bearish market, news like the ones from Binance, or in a really topped market, news from the whole CZ stepping down the $4.3 billion fine, would have taken the entire market down. So you've got to understand the fact that nothing is changing necessarily, or really, we're still bullish, things are still looking nice, is so extremely showcasing for crypto. Think about it. What took the entire crypto market down from all the all-time highs? Well, kind of the moment FTX collapsed, things went down really fast because the market was basically in overbought territory. Right now, everybody's basically expecting it to go higher, and we're now thinking of where is the start of the bull market? Is it coming yet? Instead of, is it over yet? And I'm saying that that's why negative news has less of an effect, but bullish news, exciting news, has more of an effect. Whereas with the stock world, it's the exact opposite right now, an exact inverse correlation. But anyway, you've got to realize one extremely important thing. The moment that your friends, your grandma, the news, they all start talking about crypto again at the dinner table and everywhere outside, that's when you're nearing high levels. Meaning, right now we're still pretty low. We're pretty low key with all the crypto attention. And as I said, you'll notice when you're in peak bull market season because it's just going to be plus 40% across the board every single day. And the reason I'm telling you guys this in multiple videos is because for some reason, people sometimes take my words a little bit too lightly, I feel. But I'm telling you right now, I am not your financial advisor. I'm just somebody who's been here for a while and takes a look at crypto every single day for as long as I can remember now. And I'm telling you, the way I'm describing it right now is most likely how it's going to go. And so the best course of action is to understand you do not want to be the reversal trader. You do not want to be the guy that gets in at the highest point, or I should say rather, who sells at the highest point or buys at the lowest point. Why? Because you're going to be wrong most of the time. It's hard. No. We are people that like to go with the momentum. They're two completely different sorts of investors / traders. The same concept applies with stocks. You've got people who value or momentum invest. Value investing meaning you look at stocks that are undervalued basically. Momentum meaning you look at stocks that are doing really well, that have potential to do better. Relating it back to crypto. The lowest point of the lowest, it's already in. And many people will be like, I need to wait for a bigger dip to buy. And I always say time in the markets way more important than time in the markets, because you don't need the average price to be the lowest possible. You just need yourself an average price. If you've got yourself a price, meaning you bought in, all you got to get is a higher price. I know it sounds simple, right? But many people get lost in this idea of you need the lowest price possible. You don't. All you need is a price right now and a higher price. So if it's possible for this asset that you're holding to go up, in which right now the direction is definitely looking as if it's going, you're solid. And once more, most people will be wrong. Meaning that most people are looking at it right now thinking, no, it probably has to go for another correction. And if that's what most people are thinking, it'll continue to go up. Most likely, that is, huh? And funny enough, if you're thinking, I definitely should not be buying right now, I mean, you probably should. The conclusion being, you've been warned that major indices, the traditional stock market, is in a really bad spot right now. But that crypto, from almost any way, is in one of the best spots ever right now. Most people are just not realizing it yet. And I keep telling you, the moment that most people realize is when we're at peak highs, is when the best moment is already over. If you told me a couple years ago that BlackRock and all these guys would want ETFs, I would have signed all my money over immediately, because that's the best seal of approval you could ever get. And the fact that the SEC is trying to stop it means there's real money in all this, and they don't want these massive injections of money yet. If you realize this, you're probably in a good position. If you're thinking of which coins exactly should I be buying, you're probably in a good position. If you're thinking, no, I'm gonna wait till crypto goes lower because it's guaranteed, you're a risk taker, and it's not bad, because indeed there could be a correction coming, as we've been going up consistently for Bitcoin for a good while, but it's a risky play. As long as you realize that the more risky option is not being exposed to crypto right now, in my opinion at least, then we're on the same page. And again, over the next couple of days, I'll probably be announcing more videos with my top coins for the next few weeks or months. A couple of cool coins I mean are launching pretty soon. I think Inspect is also launching tomorrow. Pretty excited about that one. And I've got way more of them. As I said, right now is the time to look. I'll also be doing more airdrop tutorials if you guys want it. But yeah, that's about it for now. If you enjoyed it, make sure you go ahead and press that like button. It is greatly appreciated. And I think every single one of you watching this video right now, you're gonna make it.